New Horizon family, welcome to week 1 of our Lenten series. Thank you so much for joining us last week as we began our series in Lent when we started with our Ash Wednesday service. If you're following me, you might have already downloaded this incredible book, which is on the website. You can get it from the Religion and Race, United Methodist Church. If you can't find that link, please have a look at the bulletin. It is in the bulletin. It's also in the newsletter that was sent out to you. Part of the focus during this Lenten time is what we call the Lectio Divina, which is really kind of approaching Scripture with our imagination. Sometimes when we come to Scripture, we kind of tend to come in quite a rational mind sense, but part of our journey during this Lenten time and part of this Lenten Bible study, which really helps us look more broadly at what is diversity, what is equity, what is inclusion, it actually engages all of our senses. And so I'm going to invite you to, when you read these passages this week, that you actually engage your imagination. So let's start a little bit on the first passage. And our theme for this week is on temptation. Our passage that we're going to focus on, and there are a number of passages for you if you're following with me in this Lenten series, but the passage we're going to look at is on Matthew chapter 4. And we're reading from verse 1 through to 11. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tested by the devil. He fasted 40 days and 40 nights, and afterwards he was famished. The tempter came and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread." But he answered, "It is written, one does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from God." Then the devil took him to the holy city and placed him on the pinnacle of the temple, saying to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, He will command angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you, so that you will not dash your foot against a stone." And Jesus said again, "It is written, do not put the Lord your God to the test." Again the devil took him to a very high mountain, and he showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory, and he said to him, "All these I will give you, if you will fall down and worship me." Then Jesus said, "Away with you, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only." Then the devil left him, and suddenly angels came and waited on him. Isn't that an incredible passage? And I invite you today, as part of this practice, perhaps you've done this practice regularly, or maybe this is the first time that you might be really entering this practice of Lectio Divina. I want you to think for a moment, just take yourself into the passage. Can you smell or imagine what the air would have smelled like? Can you imagine in your mind what those stones in Israel, baked by the sun that burns down in Jerusalem, can you imagine how they would have looked like bread, that beautiful golden color? Can you imagine what it was like for Jesus, famished, starving, at the end of himself, being taken and being offered a very simple solution to his pain, and having to deal with the challenge of the call of God upon his life? I wonder if you can imagine what it is like to be tempted. Maybe sit for a few moments in the holding of this passage, to open your hands in silence, open your heart, and maybe think about what are the things in your own life right now that are tempting you. Are you being tempted by a call of God upon your life? Are you being tempted in a place right now where you have harbored anger or unforgiveness in your soul? Are there relationships that have hurt you so deeply that, just like Jesus being famished, you are shattered? And that's the burden you carry through Lent. Can you wait in that place and open your hands and just allow God to touch you in this place? Perhaps the journey in Lent is to allow Scripture to be like the flooding and the flowing of the waves that flow in and out. Allow the Scriptures to bring you the presence of Christ and of angels to wait upon you. What are you being tempted with? Let us sit in the presence of God today. Amen.